Look, guys, we're live just like that. I'm gonna wait a little minute just to let the crowd build up a little bit. But how have we been getting on today? I'm not gonna lie to any of you, yeah. I'm feeling the pain too. I'm really feeling the pain. Do let me know if you can hear me all okay. Do you know what? I can do sound tests before streams when I have Dylan beside me, but I can't do sound tests on my own. So, guys, do let me know if you can hear me. I want to give a big shout out, Dominic. Dominic, newest member, my guy, big shout out to you. I am going to start doing a lot more for members. You know what, guys? As members, what do you want me to do for you? Do give me a shout out. What you want done for you? I'm starting to think there's an option I can do members only live streams at the end of a live stream. And I was like, maybe like a closing out, talk about everything. More or less, it's not going to be one-to-one, but what is there, 23 members at the moment? So us and 23 other guys will be able to answer your question. So I might start doing that after live streams. But big shout out to you, Dominic. Big shout out, my guy. Sounds good. Andrew, howdy. Big shout out, my guy. Hey, Liam. Hope you're doing well. Thanks for hopping on again. Do you know what? I need you as much as you need me, especially in times like this. It's tough. It is tough. I'd be lying if I said to you that during all this, I can say we don't deal with emotions, yeah? I mean, don't deal with emotions in America. I'm not saying we are Iron Man. Like, when I see Archer and Joby going down, it hurts me. It hurts me a lot. The past few days have been a wild ride. Are you considering beta at all now that it's at $15? Do you know what? Beta actually had a bit of news come out today. I'm looking at it here. So Norway completed its first electric aviation test project. So they did test the ALIA on February 2nd. So what was that? 3 days ago? No, I'm trying to look everywhere. From my understanding, this is the VTOL variant ALIA. So the way you know with the ALIA, one has propellers on the front of it that rotate upwards. The other one just has wings. And this one looks like it just has wings. So I'm on the understanding this is the VTOL ALIA. But it was all to do with, again, regulations. Norway wanted to prove that electric technology can be safely integrated. So it was all to get data I'm looking at. Yeah, because I thought that caught me idea. It said successful transition. They mean transition to electric technology. So from my understanding, that is a VTOL variant. Anyone that doesn't know what VTOL is, conventional takeoff and landing. Takes off just like a plane, flies like a plane, lands like a plane. So we actually had a bit of news with Archer Aviation today, which was quite good as well in relation to the batteries. And then Joby Aviation put something great out, and it was all to do with the Department of War. Now, I didn't know this, and I need you guys to help me out here. The Department of War and the Department of Defense, what is the difference, my guys? Because over here, we don't have all these different departments. So this is where I need to help, or I need some help from you guys. Howdy, big shout out, Andrew, WHD, Merry Christmas. WHD, actually, did you say you added 3,000 shares last time it dropped? So, do you know what? That is a solid investor. Are you adding any more, my guy? Beta alias CX300 electric aircraft being flown by Air New Zealand to transport cargo as we speak. Okay, Shay. Would you be able to send me a link to that? I don't know. Are you going to be able to send it on YouTube? Might have to send it through X. I'd actually like to look into that. It was a great buy, or a great day to buy today. It really was. Earth Pig, appreciate macro perspectives. Do you know what? Macro's looking. It's not looking good. Yeah. I'm going to call a spade. And I'll be honest with you, I added 50 shares of Arch today. 50. 50. I didn't add any more. Because I'm telling you, I I'm not feeling comfortable in this type of market. Normally, when it dips, I'm feeling quite comfortable. I'm not feeling comfortable in this type of market. Like Amazon have just had their earnings, have they? I seen they beat on everything apart from EPS. I think EPS was projected at 195, and I think came in at 196. I can't remember, but or is it the opposite way around? But yeah, the whole macro is just looking. It's just looking shaky at the moment. AMD again down today. What are we looking at now? It's at 17% down. They had their earnings last night. I'll have to get back into that. Archer Aviation sitting at 649. I said 650 yesterday. I didn't expect us to drop lower than 650, and I think at one stage, like aftermarket, it's 633. I can really see that $5 range now. I really can. Beta Technologies, yeah, we'll get into a little bit more to do with Beta and what's my thoughts around Beta. Beta sitting at 1580, down 12%. Horizon Aircraft, did they climb back up? Yeah, they're at 170 now. So remember when I was saying 180 yesterday, I said I still wasn't comfortable. You can see these are just moving rapidly. Joby Aviation, we're under the $10 now, 946. Joby's actually, do you know what? They've just got the capital on board. I don't know why Joby has completely capitulated, but look, I think great investment. Vertical Aerospace, thank God I didn't go in on Monday because I'm down another 8%. We're now floating just above that $4 range, 406. That's going to break the $4. I really think so. That's going to break the $4. But look, again, S&P was down what today? Was it 1.24? Did I see there? I can't even get into it. Yeah, 1.24, and then after hours it's gone down by another 0.5%. So as the whole macro starts falling, these are all going to get amplified. Shane's going to send that to me there. Yes, I did. My goal is to have 40,000 shares. Beautiful, mate. Beautiful. My guy, Dylan, what's up, all? Dylan, feel free to jump in if you are free. There's no pressure whatsoever, but if you're free, you can jump on in. Watch Cat if you want to know how the day is going to go. Hope everyone is doing good today. Dylan's been actually firing quite a few nice posts on X. There was one about Eve. A lot of people were talking about Eve yesterday, and I remember seeing Dylan share some news on Eve earlier. So, what is it? It's been reported that AirX signs firm agreement with Eve Air Mobility for 2 eVTOL aircraft of flexibility for 48 additional Eve aircraft. And didn't I see Vertical Aerospace had a memorandum of understanding? Was that today? Yeah, we're proud to be signing a memorandum of understanding with JetSec Go, and that's for 50 VTOL aircraft. Look, memorandum of understanding, they're not contract binding, but you're a lot better looking at them than looking for them. It is the closest thing you can get to someone actually signing the contracts, more or less an understanding of interest. So that is great news for Vertical Aerospace. But look, I don't expect anything in this sector to push the stocks up at this stage. I actually would be quite scared if we brought out some really good news at the moment, because I don't think it would hit like it would normally hit, because the whole macro is just going to keep pulling it down. Like I said it yesterday, the eIPP, the selection of that, I don't think that's actually going to be as big in these macro conditions. And like with days like today, it just be a drop in the ocean. Nothing will happen. Not sure if to jump in Joby now or tomorrow morning, 9:18. not financial advice. Joby's looking really good right now. Look, I'm not gonna lie to you. I didn't jump into Joby today, so I'd be lying if I said I'd dive in now. But if you want to build your position in Joby, it's a great price. Look, what's gonna happen? Worst comes to worst, might go down to $8. Yeah. I was saying it today on X. Archer Aviation now is the price of a coffee. Yeah. So every time you go and buy a coffee, think a lot of you guys are projecting this is going to get to $100. Some of you project it's going to get to 50, 40, wherever your price target is. Stick that in your head, yeah? Next time you drink a coffee, just remember that coffee is now worth $100 to you. 7 coffees a week. Look, I'm a madman for coffee. You've seen me in some videos. I can't do a stream for a cup of tea. But buying coffees on the way, yeah, I'm a madman for that sometimes. And if it is worth $100 to you, you genuinely are throwing away financial freedom $100 at a time. No, that is not a war cry for buying to Archer. I'm just saying, if that is your mentality, if I get loads of people every week saying Archer's going to $100, Archer's going to $50, Archer's going to $40, etc. But if you genuinely hand on heart believe that, your coffee is now worth $40, etc. Yeah? 7 coffees a week, $700. $700. Keep adding up. Mate, what's that? It's like, I can't do the maths off the top of my head. Department of Defense and Department of War is the same, simply a name change. Okay, so they've changed to the Department of War, have they? Thank you so much for confirming that to me. Jonathan, my guy, always here. Bang that like button. Yeah, dude. Smash that like button as we're getting into this. You guys are getting great for that, yeah? We're getting more likes than ever. We're getting more subscribers than ever. And if you want to make that wheel spin while we're live, that is completely live. And yes, if you don't believe me, you can unsubscribe, watch the wheel spin, but please subscribe back. That's only if you're interested. If you don't actually intend to keep watching us, don't bother subscribing, because it's going to waste my time and it's going to waste your time. Only reason I get people to subscribe, I explained it yesterday. I'm not going to go through that whole thing, but I just show up on your home screen that it actually puts less work on me and it's easier for you to get to me completely free. We just had a big snowstorm. How does Archer do in the cold? VTOL certification is not in the plans, as far as I'm aware. I believe they will be in the plans. But then we were speaking about Archer Aviation yesterday. It could be to do with their business model too. So I said, if I go to Tesla and want to buy a Cybertruck, if I want it fitted with snow tires, etc., I'm going to pay for that. So if you want a midnight with VTOL certification, you may have to pay to bring it through certification. That's my opinion. Some people may disagree. But $200 of Joby today, that is a great purchase, my guy. What's that? That's all for 20 shares now at this stage. Department of, oh yeah, we got through that. Bitcoin, 62,000. Gold, 48,000. Confidence in the dollar. The entire market is being driven down, especially in the VTOL market, for good entry point for all involved. We had people worrying the last day that was it the last opportunity. I can never say is it the last opportunity, but going through a market like this, you can see it's not the last opportunity. We're going to be down here for, we're going to be teetering on these ranges for a while. That's why I said on X the other day, don't look at your portfolio for 2 weeks. Honestly, don't. And then we had people celebrating the next day that we were going green again. Where are we going green again? We have to dump heavily, and then we got a slight little push up, and then it's gone back. Yeah, I just wouldn't look at my portfolio. I'm going to blame some of you guys. You had me looking at my portfolio yesterday. Mate, do you know what? I wouldn't even like to look at my actual portfolio now. I just purposely, I'm not signing into it. I'm just don't want to see it. I believe Archer will be over $100 someday, and I agree with you. I genuinely think Archer should be over $100. I think Joby will be over $100. So every share you get is $100 to you. Yeah. So whether you're a big investor, whether you're a small investor, whether you can only pick up one share at a time, keep it in your head. If the thesis is not broken and the company's doing exactly what you're anticipating them doing, and your plan is well structured, hopefully you will get to $100. I've said this, yeah. So there's no guarantee of anything, yeah. There's no guarantee the S&P will ever go up again in our lifetime, yeah. But why don't we stack all the odds for us, yeah? So past performance is not always the predictor of the future, but it does kind of give us a pattern. I'm not saying that Archer Aviation will ever break all-time highs, but I believe they will. And we're now we've gone under the stage where it's more than a 2x to get back to all-time highs. I think Joby's more or less the same. Just saying. One share at a time. That's all it takes. Like we're doing here, one subscriber at a time. I see one unsubscribed. Bang that subscribe again, please. Don't upset me. Take a look at Beyond Meat, solid buy. Beyond Meat, they're looking at making the meat substitute. It's not something I am wild about. Because don't they have good meat alternatives at the moment? Like, I'll be open and honest, my missus is a vegan. So I don't know. Is it something that people require? Do they want? Mate, would you be able to explain to me what Beyond Meat is quickly? I'll review it if you want. The long game is in play. Long game is definitely in play. Both for Joby, Archer. Horizon Aircraft's looking good now. Horizon Aircraft's looking really good. 170. I think earlier today was at 164. I actually might do a stream later with the Horizon Aircraft guys over on their channel to speak a little bit about Horizon Aircraft. Vertical Aerospace looking very attractive now. The only thing that worries me is once it drops under that $4, are we going to really fall down? I need to look a lot more into Vertical Aerospace now because it's starting to get really worrying for me, not going to lie. Beta Technologies, you did ask, am I buying at this range? If I seen a turnaround in the macro market, I probably would buy at this range. But at the moment, what's holding beta up really, like, I don't think the ones from IPO are able to sell their shares yet. Like, I don't know. Like, it's a 3.75 billion market cap at the moment. I was actually looking at the market caps today. They're starting to look quite strange compared to what we were used to. Like, Archer is now 4.76 billion. Beta is just not one that is shouting out to me at the moment. I think there's so many opportunities across the whole market that if I had to go in, beta isn't. And I would actually expect a quicker recovery from the likes of Vertical Aerospace than beta at the moment. Do let me know what you think about that, though. USA has the best meat. I disagree. I think Ireland has the best meat. I'm a cattle farmer, my guy. Grass-fed cattle from Ireland, I believe, is the best meat. I'm only winding you up, okay. Meat alternatives didn't even sell at my store, even when people were hoarding for the storm. I remember during COVID, did you have that whole stage? I was working in the retail sector at the time, and toilet rolls were going wild. Who thought toilet rolls, out of all things, would go? But yeah, people want to get the essentials. Beyond Meat has crashed 90% from highs. Some traders see any dip as a cheap entry. The classic buy the dip idea. Lower share price can appeal to bargain hunters even if fundamentals are weak. And that's the thing I was saying yesterday. Remember, we had a guy that said, and this is nothing against what the guy was saying. He was saying if a stock drops 50%, double down, then when it drops another 25%, double down. That works great if the fundamentals are great. But like Saga's saying here, if the company's just spiraling downwards, all you're doing is throwing away money, really. But look, I haven't looked at Beyond Meat, really, so I don't really have a solid opinion on it. What holds up eVTOL other than BlackRock investing in contracts with national governments, major companies like airliners and Toyota? You want me to be honest? Like, these could easily fall a lot lower. I don't believe they're going to fall a ton more, but I can see Archer entering that $5 range. I can see Joby even going down towards $8. Vertical aerospace really worries me where it could go. Horizon Aircraft seems to be holding well. The reason I think it's holding well is because they do have a die-hard following, yeah, and there's only a 75 million market cap, so retail are controlling that. So I genuinely do think Horizon Aircraft may actually be safe due to how strong their investor base is. That's why it does scare me. Like, could we see a time where vertical aerospace starts going down towards close to a valuation of Horizon Aircraft? Could do. Like, really, these companies are probably still overvalued at these ranges. If we call a spade, they probably are. They're not juicing any significant revenue. At the moment, they're still just a concept. We're praying for certification, and there's no guarantee of military contracts. But this is the joy about believing in a company. Because once all these catalysts start getting knocked over, you get safer and safer investors start to trickle in. I'm not going to lie to you, today has been painful. Today has been really painful. I'm like looking at all the red there, and I don't know. I saw a whole video about Beyond Meat. It looks so bad. Middle East has too much money in Archer to let it fail. Yeah, I don't think Archer and Joby are going failing. Yeah? There's too much riding on it. The government is backing them so much with the likes of an eIPP program. You see the institutes piling into them. I can't get my head around. I don't think Archer and Joby will fail. I genuinely don't. I worked on a pig farm. What's that like, working on a pig farm? I've never worked on a pig farm. I kind of hope Archer is in the $5 to $6 range around March. It will hurt to see, but that's where a double dip at the moment. I have $9 call options for April on Archer. So that would start scaring me. Dylan says, check DMs. Oh my god. Yes, I will, my guy. If you want to send me a link, there we go. Yeah, 100%, my guy. We're getting the Alpha Hustle Brother involved. Love that. The company, not the product. This Beyond Meat are we speaking about? Gonna sit in my hands for a few days before loading anymore. Dave, do you know what? If you are happy with your positions at the moment and you're more or less just add into your positions because it feels like it's the right thing to do, or you want more, that could be a good idea. Because look, unless you're desperate to get in at this stage, I think I'd wait and see. Even if we end up getting in at a higher price, it might be better to wait and see. Now, let me bring Dylan in here quick, right? Oh my guy, how are we going?
Hey, check. How you doing, Liam?
Not doing
Checking
too bad,
in.
mate.
Yeah. I feel like it's a possible to be felt deflated day in the market. Yet hopefully life outside of the market, still has some shining moments in it. And we're finding the ways. I was listening and I'm like, are we all switching to Beyond Meat? Are we going, are we all dumping out and going in for the Beyond Meat squeeze? But no, it's great to see you. Always great to talk with you. And yeah, for everybody here, how's it going? And hope everybody's doing well.
Dylan, I actually want to ask you something. So,
Yeah.
we got Dominic here, yeah? New
Yeah.
member.
Thank
And I
you.
was
Hey,
thinking,
Don.
do you know what? After streams, do you know how me and you normally have a chat after a stream?
Yeah.
So maybe, I don't know, we keep the stream going for 15 minutes for the members. I can switch it to members only if we keep it going for the members. That way we're sort of giving back to the members. How do you feel about that?
I actually like that a lot, Liam. And one big reason again is I'm going to say community and really I think you put the good word to it, the hive mind, kind of having that collaborative thought and, kind of be able to decompress. And something that's always been nice for me and jumping on with you is having that ability to decompress, not just kind of with my fingers and typing the messages out, kind of being able to have that like free flowing thought and, just kind of going off really just the top of the head and, whatever the conversation piece kind of brings and steers the conversation towards. So, no, I think it's a great idea because, any more thought and just, again, whether it's positive, negative, the bear, the bull, we kind of bring it in, and I think it's a great idea. And yeah, I don't know. I smile because it's always fun chatting with you after the stream. So I'm in. I think it's a great idea.
Some of the funny stuff is said then, but yeah, do you know what? Dominic, we'll see you there, my guy. Then Kathy Wood is in heavy too. Kathy Wood is in really heavy in Archer Aviation, and she's really loaded up on Joby Aviation lately too. I follow Arc Invest Tracker on X, and the reason I do that, because they break it down so nicely, any of the buys and sells. Kathy Wood does do that day. Instead of going into Arc Invest and actually trying to sieve through everything that's going on that day, he or she, whoever owns that page, does do a great job of doing it.
Nice.
I'm thinking about jumping back into NuScale. They make nuclear reactors. Nuclear reactor and nuclear uranium, they seem to be a big topic in the market lately. Are you in anything uranium or nuclear or?
No, I would say silicon state batteries would be about the furthest I go. Definitely little apples to oranges in that. But no nuclear, and I've definitely seen the run up in the stocks, and correct me if I'm wrong, but just kind of the flow into the data center usage and kind of all the ties in there. But no, not currently for myself. But yeah, I think that kind of also is a good look at kind of what this whole macro has done, to the market really since last Friday, and just anybody finding the individual opportunities out there that they might want to jump into, whether it is kind of dipping back in the eVTOL or maybe there's something in a sector that you've kind of had your eye on. Whatever sector, quantum, the mega cap stocks, the more like Microsoft's. I mean, even those have been down so much. So yeah, maybe these are some points where some people are really getting interested in either starting a position or adding to little position that they might have.
I actually want to touch on something because the guys were saying it yesterday about what would I be bullish on outside of eVTOL, and then I said I didn't want to go down the easy route of space, and I said me and you do have conversations about it all the time, and I said about Google, and this was before Google's earnings, and I said how bullish you are on Google. Do you want to give a little rundown to some of the guys about Google?
Yeah, sure. I'll say Google is probably one of my biggest investment mistakes in my life. If I could rewind the clock 15 years ago, I would buy a lot less shoes and buy a lot more Google stock. So that's number one. But fast forward to today, you know, years ago when Google started introducing the home products, and even with that flipping over to like Amazon with the Alexa and such, I was really kind of picturing this further out vision, this 20, 30-year vision where, and we'll stick with Google, is going to be so integrated into your home. I mean, you see the smart fridges, again, the little kind of pseudo tablets that are all around the house and get you the talk connectivity to family members that are outside of your house as well. And then you have the expansion that Google takes into the autonomous ride sharing with Waymo. You also have YouTube as a subsidiary under the belt there. So, um, for me, I think it's again one of those stocks when we look at like Tesla versus Google, and you're just trying to kind of ballpark or just throw out that guess of who's going to be that $1 trillion company first. Um, I think with the humanoid robotics, there's a great thesis there. I think there's a lot of proven work to be done to get there. And with Google, I'm just feeling that there is the TPU momentum. We're really just getting the beginnings of the Waymo rollout. Kind of, we're getting past the early adoption stage. So even coming to DC in my area pretty soon, if they haven't kind of peppered in one or two here and there. And again, even YouTube. Um, I almost kind of think again as some of the kind of cord cutting that went on, and now we've gone to a lot of the streaming services, just kind of how YouTube and YouTube TV will continue to play its role, not into my life, but kind of integrate into, even the next generation's life as well. And will that be like the main source or a main source of not just television, but maybe new released music, financial news, any of those areas in the gambit. And again, growing revenue stream for Google. And then, I just see, I would say in a short way of saying it, I see a lot of continued potential in Google. So I think there's a lot of power and steam. They broke through the DOJ case, and again had the earnings call, and even with the bad macro has been able to hold up as best as they can.
How are you feeling the last few days? I'll bring it back to eVTOL. How are you feeling the last few days over this whole, we can call it nosedive at this stage?
A little bit of wondering when it will end, but I say that maybe first as I was going to say the other first, but a little bit honest of wondering when it will end. But I can't have that crystal ball and predict that I'm going to catch the bottom. So that I don't know, because again, last year we were looking at the more kind of like concrete measures, like the tariffs were coming into place. We kind of had those spots like why and where we knew that the macro was being drawn down so much. So ever since the Fed chair got changed, it just seems like the drawdown has just washed. I think it was the JOLTS number that came out today. That was also not as good as expected. So there's just different macro conditions. And I think there's also and it's kind of talking about this on the stream with you maybe a month, 2 months ago, just, the amount of capex from these large cap companies, the Amazon, the Microsoft, the Tesla and Google, I think it was, and Meta was totaling something like 650 billion in total capex spend to come up. And I think for me, the curiosity is just, again, when we're going to see that return in what I'm considering real world ROI. And so not so much just your LLM or your chatbot, but, and maybe not something, and maybe there's a middle ground between that and the humanoid robot that's really going to kind of simplify our lives and kind of push us to that next spot of what transformative AI really is. I think that's a curious one, and for each one of those companies to kind of have to solve what kind of their, quote unquote, classifying as their role in this breakthrough in the AI space. And maybe anybody in the chat can let me know. I've been thinking for a while. I haven't heard, me personally, I just felt like I haven't heard Dan Ives in a while. And I feel like, 6 months ago or so, it was like 9 p.m. at the party. And, I'm just like curious if Dan Ives is ready to come out and say like, man, we got to 1 o'clock really quick. or, you know, is he holding tight and, you know, maybe it's still 10:30 at the party that he sees playing out. But then you had the, you know, the OpenAI stuff going on, and, you know, Jensen talking about that. So um, there's, you know, some market instability all around. But when I do look at the eVTOLs, what I kind of have to think back on is, you know, is this a hardware play? Is this an AI play? Is this a software play? You know, even though as much as I want to think of these companies as an AI play, having the NVIDIA chips and the IGX Thor, in some ways, they're building hardware. There's data to be collected from the hardware that they're building, but you know, if an AI bubble was to quote unquote burst, if these companies still have the liquidity and the FAA momentum and the backing behind them, is this still something that other countries as well as our countries are looking to be early adopters in and continue to push forward? So, in talking about some of the top like Joby, you know, you cut some of their market cap off, so they're going to get closer, and their price to sales ratio is going to come down. So I would say what was probably, I think it was like a 16-to-1 price to sales ratio 2 weeks to a month ago has probably come down to like a 10-to-1. And then you look at Archer, who is probably at about 2.5-to-1 or so. And yeah, it's going to be interesting to kind of see, because again, once we start dipping below the 10s and the 5s, you know, it is a lot of retail support that's going to be helping these companies just kind of keep these ground floor levels. As we know, one, there's psychological levels that come into play. So, you know, you drop below 10 can be resistance or support just based on the psychological kind of pattern that we have in our minds. You know, it's cheaper to buy something under 10 for some reason. It looks prettier to buy under 10, and you know, 1001 just seems more expensive than 999 for some reason sometimes. But yeah, what are you thinking?
Isn't it interesting that at $8 we were having everyone and their cousin jumping in and saying they want to buy more Archer Aviation? Before the dilution, we had Joby Aviation is the best thing since sliced bread, and people just wanted more and more.
Mm-hmm.
And it just seems to be gone very quiet lately. Yes, we do have the diehard investors, and it doesn't surprise me that they're buying in now. But this is ideal opportunities. Look, I'm happy with my positions in Archer and Joby, and that's why I keep saying I'm holding on. Because to me, it doesn't matter if a reversal happens and Archer Aviation shoots up towards $7 again. Well, I've missed 50 cents or so, but at least I know I've done my due diligence on the company, and look, it wasn't to be. If you're just trying to build a position in them, I wouldn't care whether it's $6, $8, $7. If it's going to $100, you will not remember. And I'm telling you, the difference in a few cents, you won't realize that.
Well, and like you said, in a few cents there, Liam, that's something, you know, as I was going through my investing journey, where first it was, you know, I'm just going to be the buy and hold investor, going to buy Google, and we're going to go with that approach, you know. And then I felt like the more I learned, it made me dangerous, you know. And all of a sudden, I was this, you know, kind of swing trading, and you know, this ticker, you know, X% up, and it's like, okay, we'll swing trade it. And then all of a sudden, it felt like it almost started to get into like a day trader sort of mindset on it, you know, trying to catch like intraday lows and such. So again, I think for anybody's individual kind of style of being in the market or reason to be in the market, but just like you said, I think for me, when I look at it, whether I'm buying, you know, either one of these eVTOL stocks at, you know, $6.90 for $7.10, is it worth me freaking out for 6 and 8 hours during the day over my phone, watching it, you know, till it hits what I think will be the intraday low, or being mad at myself from yesterday for saying, oh, let me, you know, take a little nibble in this eVTOL company, and only to see it go down a little bit today. You know, like I said, I broke some rules. I was going to be the hold the cash and wait for these moments sort of investor. But I'm excited about the industry, and you know, I think still to be firm that there's certain catalysts that we know are on the rise, so we don't necessarily have to rush ourselves into it. So if anybody needs a little bit of time to be patient with these investments, I think that that's also okay. You know, if you're more comfortable buying in the eights because that's showing company stability, you know, when the market or the company can rise it back up, that will maybe give you that confidence in which you'll either want to restart the position or continue to accumulate shares in that dollar range. So that's okay. Also, if you know, just because the price is dipping or if it's below your cost average, you know, you don't have to throw everything at it and you know just start lowering cost basis. You know, you can kind of sit back, think. And one thing I was thinking too is, you know, there's some interconnected pieces here where it's not just the eVTOL companies, it's not just the FAA information, it's not the GCA, not just the GCAA information, which also have like the vertiport build outs and such. So I think that's a good thing to keep an eye on because you know if those structures are continuing to get built out, to me again, it's showing that opportunity for further momentum to reach our targeted launch dates. Now, if market conditions were so bad that no workers were showing up to build these vertiports in a week, you know, I think time to tap in and dig deeper into the what's and whys of that. So continued assembly from the aircraft manufacturers and continued work from those kind of on the ground supporting the build out, and then also looking into the lean in from the international as well as U.S. Aviation supports, and kind of marrying all those together and seeing if we're still on pace for successful launches and targeted scheduled guidance.
Did you see Joby today hosted test leaders from the US Air Force?
Yeah,
It was
what do you
their test
think?
pilot school
Yeah.
at the X-Wing headquarters, and I was talking about autonomy. This is all to do with supporting the Department of Defense. So again, Joby are going down that defensive route heavily, as we see Archer doing now recently. I was thinking about it. Could we just see a defensive contract come out? Now, I mean, once we get rid of this dip, forget about the macro.
Yeah.
We see a defensive contract come out. Could that make the stock run as much as the likes of FAA certification? Given that this has been money on the books, rather than FAA certification is more or less just a green light.
I agree with you. I think you nailed it in that description. It's the revenue on the books. And I think in my humble opinion, I think either it be institutional or continued retail support of these companies being able to get Joby was able to show revenue on the balance sheet last quarter. So again, they were kind of taking these strides where we're starting to show these figures into the earnings calls. And I think, yes, for me, we are going to have maybe certain baked in catalysts like the FAA certification, which again, with good macro is maybe going to be kind of what pulls in and kind of gives that forward leaning thoughts to the investors to be able to put the capital towards these companies. But yeah, programs of records, I mean, again, that depending on the dollar amount of them, they could be matching or halving the market cap of some of these eVTOL companies. And I think, again, revenue and profit are two of the biggest things that kind of maybe keeping people on the fence to really dive in and kind of not just only with the investment money, but really continue into DD and research the companies more. So you definitely have the investors who will be looking for revenue and profits on the balance sheets.
Yeah, you smashed it there. Like, you have a certain amount of investors that will not, no matter what, will never invest in a company pre-revenue, and then you have a certain amount of investors that will never invest in an unprofitable company.
Absolutely.
So, in theory, it could be bigger than the green light from FAA. Now, I think a lot of people are banking on FAA certification, and yes, that is so important. It's the most important piece of the puzzle. But I feel like too many people are banking on it, and I don't think they're going to get the returns they're expecting once it comes. But Dominic says, as long as the VTOL industry doesn't go deep red like crypto industry since January 20th, we're okay. I see crypto spiral. I said about crypto the last day. I don't understand it. I don't really want to understand it. To me, in my head, and I probably am completely wrong. I just think the boys at the top are making the money, aren't they? It's all going. It was meant to be what was it? Safer and all this. Yet BlackRock and that are just scooping it all up. So, nah, do you know what? I think eventually what will happen, all them big investors, investment funds and companies will have all the Bitcoin, and that would be the end of Bitcoin.
I was watching Market Open Show. I was watching Mitt's Market Open Show today, and he was showing this comedy clip. So I'm not trying to make light of it, but just through the comedy clip, it was a gentleman and basically saying how every time he invested in Bitcoin, it was just generally the wrong time. And you'd have somebody that would be like, oh, I'm 300% up on, my Bitcoin. And he's just like, man, I'm the one that bought that for you, or bought that from you, while you were 300% up. And it's just, yeah, it's a currency that, if some were getting into it in the early 2010s, 12s, 13, 14s, you might have that better understanding, as well as that super low average on it. But yeah, I'm kind of with you where I get a little worried to throw just like this blind eye over it. When I started going to Nordstrom's, it was like 2018, and I saw that they had, like, when you tap your credit card or whatever, it had like a Bitcoin option. And I was just like, huh? I mean, I'm like, Nordstrom's is accepting Bitcoin. I'm like, this has to be a little bit more real than even I was believing. So, but yeah, I can't tell you any more on that. But yeah, it is crashing, and you have some of the financial services stocks that are crashing as well. So you have the SoFis. I was talking about that earlier, where you had so many people projecting that was either going to end the year $35 or over, or again, being seen more as a fintech, versus just this financial institute being able to really cross over that $35 threshold, and as well as Anthony Noto having pay compensation packages, reaching certain levels. You had a lot of the SoFi bulls in there, and don't know what it closed at today, but I think it touched either $20 or may have even dropped under 20 today. So even likes of Robinhood, I think people are really feeling the pain from the liquidation of the crypto on Robinhood. And, even in those sectors, it's to be told whether it is market conditions that are going to keep those with the elevated, there's a word that's on the tip of my tongue, valuations. So like Palantir with the stretch valuations, Hood with the stretch valuations, which are kind of being crunched a little bit, and coming back down to earth. But again, if these are companies that people were interested in but just thought were a little bit stretched for them, or what a buy-in price would be for them, might be a chance to, if Palantir was something you weren't holding before, I'm not saying to buy it now, but maybe check where the kind of dust settles, and when we start to rebound, and if that ends up being an entry price in the long-term hold, that could also be something that's created. But yeah, a lot of confusion. I think as the SaaS get hit, financials get hit, the high betas are going to get hit too. And unfortunately, those are the stocks that the eVTOLs are going to be. So we are going to take a hit on those. But as far as I know, the companies are still showing up to work every day. So I think the employees clocked in today, as far as I would know. So if that's going, they put a good day's work in, and they can't control the market.
It's not financial advice whatsoever. You hit on a nice one there. Robinhood's down like 9.85% today, and it's gone down another 1.5 after hours. They're down over 50% from their all-time high. I remember owning Robinhood at around $8 or so, and I think I sold out at around $12. Now, I'll be completely transparent.
Yeah.
The rest of that then went into Rocket Lab, so I'm happy where it went.
Yeah.
But look, what could have been? I genuinely would consider opening a position in Robinhood there, because it is exposure to the crypto market.
Mm-hmm.
When crypto runs back up, I expect Robinhood to run back up with it. And I think Robinhood, the majority of you guys probably use Robinhood as your brokerage, do you?
For more the retail side, I would say so. I mean, you might have some that kind of got washed off of it from a few years ago, kind of bad taste in the mouth. But I mean, you can see in the earnings calls, be it the month over month, I'm sorry, quarter over quarter user growth, or the net assets under custody. They've put up, I mean, fantastic numbers, which has allowed them to get to the equity price that they were able to sit at and get to those all-time highs. And then I don't know if you've seen Liam or anybody in the chat, but a couple of people have put out the Robinhood chart and overlaid it over the Bitcoin chart. And it's basically, from what I've seen and what more hearing, it's almost like a mirror image, and you're seeing both of those kind of up, but yeah, both being a mirror image.
Guys, do smash that like button. There's 83 of you between X and YouTube at the moment, with only 23 likes. If you want these streams to continue during the week, do smash that like button. Also, smash that subscribe button. You can see we do not get half as much subscribers when we go live. So do smash that subscribe button if you're not. And double check that you have already subscribed, because I've seen the clock tick down earlier after I said it. So please do jump in and check that out. Bagger Holden said this would be a good time for Joby to fly the tight conforming crash. Didn't I tell you? Every day you say the same thing to me, my guy. Joby is also involved in construction vertiports. I've never seen a commercial in a stream before. Was there a commercial? Oh, do you know what? Yes, I did turn them on, my guy. And I'll tell you why I turned them on. You noticed my videos were going back to ads again. That was only because, genuinely, hand on heart, I used the revenue from that to then support the YouTube again, because I went through it with all the expenses that go up for YouTube. So yeah, because I'm not making videos on the daily, I did put them on the stream. However, I put the low amount of ads, the lowest you could put on it. So do please forgive me. Yes, I am a greedy man. Yes, but that's the way it goes. I exited Robinhood after losing my profit from Joby Archer last and transferred it to Schwab. Okay. How did that happen, my guy? Did they lose your profit? That's interesting. Go under little eVTOL companies. I think you go under little eVTOL companies. Our business is simple. Get FEA cert and first. Get big defense contracts. We should get one early this summer. I don't even think that is very, very simplified on both fronts, both for Archer and Joby. Catalyst-wise, that'd be in its simplest form too. Horizon Aircraft 170 today. But again, when Horizon gets a beautiful opportunity like that, it hasn't dropped significantly compared to the rest of the market from what I was expecting from micro cap. Yeah. And therefore, I genuinely believe Joby and Archer Aviation are better opportunities at the moment. Again, I will re-enter Horizon Aircraft with my lottery position at some point, but I don't know. The guys are strong at holding it though, because it is retail holding it.
Well, and I think what you're showing, is your level of patience, both with one ticker and with the industry, and, being able to sit back and, just methodically think about any individual company and, again, when it would be the right time to start that position. Another thing that some kind of may be going by in their investment style would be opportunity costs. So, for myself, with my Archer position, I'm okay if that's above cost average, below cost average, or double and triple the cost average. That's kind of not the game I'm in for it, in the short term, in the 6-12 months, FAA cert news and stuff like that. And there's others who are definitely going to try to find the best opportunity costs and kind of wait and see, might go cash on the sideline and see how this shakes out. So again, it's, and it's just, maybe, if anybody in the chat has any thoughts, but just to add into what maybe they're finding, or what my general word is going to be confusion, and just kind of maybe their reason of why so many different sectors are getting hit, and just maybe which piece of news are they finding maybe to be the catalyst of kind of that start of the red, with again the Fed chair being on Friday, which kind of started it. But going into this weekend, I mean, you have again mega cap company like Google have good earnings. So in the past 2 years, the Nvidias and such, those good earnings were actually kind of a bit holding the market up. And I was also going to check real quick, and I'll get right back to y'all on. I was just curious to see what the final on the S&P and how much that might have lost today. So I'll get right back to you on that.
Chris Fassi and C says we're all melting together, friends. Jonathan, Team Fidelity. Do you know what? I'm in eToro and in Trading 212. We don't have Robinhood over here. We have Robinhood Crypto over here, but we don't have actual Robinhood. Reese is lucky. Reese has Robinhood in the UK.
Big shout out, Reese.
But I only have the UK, or I only have the EU, so no, I don't have Robinhood yet. But I probably will transfer to Robinhood, not gonna lie.
And so real quick one, Liam, if I could pop it in. So the S&P, it looked like we were down a total of 1.23% as of today. I can do a little bit of research and go back to about Friday. But again, I think that that's something that's kind of been floating around, again, the larger landscape of investing, where we haven't had, it's not like the S&P went down 10% today, but we're still feeling all this pain. And what seems like, you can scroll on, through your Hood app, or whichever one that would show you your tickers on your watch list, or the ones that you have, and just seems red, 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 red. You might find a green here that, called an EMA bounce or something like that. But yeah, I think it's, it's kind of interesting where you have the Bitcoin coming down, I'm sorry, the price of Bitcoin coming down, and still though, and the commodities too. The silver, I don't want to get the days wrong, but I think it was 2 days ago, it was down 10. And then yesterday or something, it was up 10%, only to recorrect down again today. I apologize if I have my days inversed on that, guys, but just saying, you're not typically seeing a commodity like silver trade like a more beta or high volatility stocks. So it just seems like, whatever corner, maybe to like what Chris said, we're like this big market popsicle just kind of melting all together right now in the dead of winter. Yeah, it's very interesting. And it does seem like no matter what sector you're in, be it SaaS, healthcare, I think Molina Healthcare was down like 30% or something like that today. I can't tell you why, and I apologize for that. But it was. So yeah, it seems no matter what sector you're in, you're probably a little confused right now and trying to figure out kind of what this shakeout is about. And yeah, just how long the ride will last, and how to ride the ride.
Guys, Stacy's in the house. Smash that like,
hey.
Friends. Get your hustle on. Do smash that like button. Are we going to beat yesterday? Yesterday we got 65 likes. Today we have only 27. So guys, do everything you can. Raw action. What do I always say to them? Raw action beats everything.
Always.
Bitcoin is worthless in Wild Saddle's opinion. Things have to generate funds, otherwise they're speculation and for all intent purposes worthless. Wild Saddle actually put a point there. Here's news no one factors in for Archer. Wisp backed by Bones, fully autonomous, but Archer is partnered with them, will get the benefit of all their work for when Archer goes autonomous. Do they get the benefit, or are they just using SkyGrid?
You know, I don't want to misquote. I want to do my best on my thought here, but I believe that come about 2030, that Archer is to work with Whisk on, and I don't want to misspeak, but I believe there is something that came out of the lawsuit, and I apologize for not knowing the exact off the top of my head, but I feel like this is one I don't want to butcher and tell
Yeah.
you guys like the wrong info, but yes, through the Boeing Whisk lawsuit with Archer, to my knowledge, there's definitely a tie-in and a collaboration that will be moving forward with that autonomous thought of fleet and such like that. And again, for me, Whisk has always been an interesting one. As again, you'll hear me say it, probably every 3 shows or so. But when I started investing in the eVTOL industry, Joe Ben was on stage with Adam G, who was on stage with the CEO of Whisk. So, and it was at the All In podcast. So I believe, or the All In Summit, I apologize. But it was just like, whoa, you have the 3 industry leaders basically on stage together, smiling and promoting this industry and looking to push through those walls that had not been pushed through yet. So yeah, it would be very interesting to see kind of what happens in the 2030s when we get to that with autonomous flight.
Bright Storm says people just scared of market dip. Look at 2001, 2008. People scared of what's going to happen. It's just another dip, and everyone will be laughing. Do you know what? I'd be 99.9% certain you are right there, Brightstone. Look, we can't know it as fact, but I would be pretty sure too, my guy.
I was thinking about that, Liam, too, where if you have your time horizon in the market, let's say 10 to 15 years, no matter how bad tomorrow, the next 3 months or 6 months were to get, per history, we would see a trajectory change. And just like that comment said, we would be coming out on the top and be better investors for buying those dips today. But what I did have to just kind of check my head on was, again, it's all again an individual investment style and how you allot the capital. But a piece of that, sorry for the phone. But a piece of that being that, I mean, like I'm gonna say it in a few different ways, probably. But like I said, to me, it doesn't matter if you have 100 shares of Archer, 2 shares of Archer, or 1,000 shares or 1 million shares. That's probably very important money that you have allotted. So whether that's your last $20 or your last $1 million, that was your last, and that's where you decided to put it. So, as we start to weather these market conditions, we'll have to see if there's, kind of the trickle down effect. We've been talking about this K-shaped economy for a few months now. So again, will there be less ability for those that were having the few extra dollars on the side, like you say, the coffee a day challenge and stuff like that? You might get to places where people wouldn't take the market away. People wouldn't even been going to get the coffee, which again is going to have sub factors on your Starbucks, again, and that's going to pull the market down and have all those kind of economic repercussions up on the market. But it's I just want to, I guess, say that buying the dip sounds easy, but I just want to give everybody credit for whichever way they're doing it, because it's not always easy to throw money into something and see that it's less tomorrow. You don't have something tangible to hold on to. A car is going to depreciate, and I'm not saying we should go buy a car instead of being in the market. So like that is not what I'm saying. But if let's just say I had $50,000 yesterday and I was like, do I want to put it in the market or or to go buy a vehicle? Well, if I went and bought the vehicle, it was going to depreciate once I got it off the lot. But depending on what stock I would have put it in yesterday, that car might have depreciated less somehow than actually what that equity stock would have been. So anyway, my roundabout point is that
Go and buy a coffee and it's completely gone anyway.
seriously, no, it's no joke. And so, no matter whether you're buying the dip, waiting to see what happens, or
I think that's genuinely the thing, though. Like, new investors kind of get put off because they buy and they haven't got it at what they determine is the lowest point they could have got it in at, and then they see their stock depreciating, and then they think they're a bad investor, and then they go seeking out advice, and then do you know what? They take pieces from everywhere, and then
Yeah.
they believe that, oh yeah, it's okay to lose money in the stock market. So then they
Right.
sell out of that and then just go and do the exact same thing again. And it just keeps going on and on and on. And it's a
Yeah.
spiral downwards. Whereas, look, we said it yesterday. Warren Buffett said it before.
Mm-hmm.
An idiot with a plan
Yeah.
is better than a genius with no plan. You could get the
Mm,
stock at
I heard that. Yeah.
the lowest point the whole time. But if you have no plan on where you're going or what your strategy is, whereas if you are just an idiot and you buy Archer from not even on a dip, if you just buy Archer,
Mm-hmm.
and as long as the company stays the same, fundamentals stick, and your thesis is right,
Yeah.
the company should go. And we said about putting fuel on the fire.
Yeah.
So everyone wants to, I don't know, of put in, say, $10,000 and never have to touch their portfolio again.
Sure.
Now, in an ideal world, yes, you can trim off the top and then go back down. But we said that, again, Peter Lynch said it, that why cut the flowers and water the weeds? And that's exactly what's happening there. Why not just keep refueling everything? Again, that gives you the best chance as possible to succeed. We're not saying you're guaranteed, but
That's fair.
you've a lot more of a chance to succeed if you just keep putting the fuel in. And I don't care whether it's $1,000 or $10.
Yeah.
The more fuel you put in, the car will go.
That's I like that. I like that, you know, because if you got 10, it can get you to the next fueling station, you know, and reload and refocus and re-go. But something you also kind of made me think about is, you know, when things are green and we feel like things are going good, aren't we always talking about, and I'm not saying we, but like just the general we, you know, whatever, of what's our exit plan? What's our exit strategy? You know, are we selling at 50? Are we selling at 100? Are we, you know, are we riding it, you know, and passing these shares down, to, you know, to my son? Point being is, do we ever think of an entry plan? You know, so again, it's well, kind of bringing that back to, if you're a dip buyer, we're definitely seeing those opportunities come in the market. But again, if it's more stability in a pre-revenue company that you're looking for, again, maybe it is that 8, 9, $10 range that you're willing to say, I'm okay losing out on the first 15% of gains to protect what I think for my long-term thesis to continue to play out and such. So, you know, yeah. I think it's, you know, we kind of got a lot of green over the last few years. A little bit of the tariff in the last 2 years is just kind of shake the heads up just enough to kind of be like, whoa, like things can get cut in half pretty quick. But the rebound was V-shaped and pretty accelerated from that. So you know, it will be interesting to see what sort of recovery or timeline it will be. But to also keep an eye on S&P, and let's see the drawdowns there. And yeah, and we'll keep at it.
James 007, British Secret Service.
I'm
Holding
jealous.
Archer long term, you're in the right place, my guy. I think sometimes we're too bullish, but I love it. Big shout out, my guy.
James, if I could just tell you real quick,
What?
my one pipe dream for the gentleman's name right there that I had was like, man, maybe one day I can grow up be James Bond. You know, this is when I was like 22 or something, you know, figuring out life. I'm like, maybe I can be James Bond. And then somebody was like, yeah, Dylan, I think they only hire you know, people that you know, either from UK or London, something, you know, to play the part. So I was like, bubble burst. No American James Bond apparently. So had to figure out to be a retail investor if that dream wasn't coming true. But no, I love the username. So that was awesome. Love the username.
Starlink can beam down signals, but the signals are not strong enough to penetrate buildings in a fast mode. And there has been talk of putting boosters in buildings. Did I miss a comment about Starlink before that? Latest AI reports said long run it can't produce reliable, less costly to maintain software AI produced. Eddie, my guy, have we worked out how we're going building that thing on Mars yet, my guy? Stacy says James. James says, hi Stacy. I know where I recognize you guys from. Big shout out, big support, and you are welcome here, my guys. Jonathan says, my Palantir average is $22, but I remember being sad I spent the money on a Florida vacation instead of buying 5,000 more at $30 a share. I've got a story, and Dylan's got a story or something like that. Yeah,
Go for it.
I can't put it on screen what I have here. Yeah, Dylan sees me doing it all the time. Puffing off do you know one of those disposable vapes? Yeah, and I remember when I was buying Rocket Lab at the time, I just wanted to keep accumulating. And for ages, I came off the vapes. And anytime I wanted one, I'd put more money in Rocket Lab. Do you know what? Should I do the same thing with Archer now? Because what? They're like 25 quid a pop every time I do that. So should I do that? Do it with Archer? Could be an interesting one. Dylan had the story as well about Google and the what was it? Your shoes?
Yeah, you know, and I was thinking the other day too. I was like, I don't even know if I took into account any stock splits. So like I was just thinking in my head, like I was pricing it out a multiplier by like this number by, you know, what the chart was showing, but I wasn't even thinking about, man, if there was any split adjust, and like maybe there would have been one share that would have turned into 5. But yeah, for basic raw numbers, if you were buying Jordans circa 2000, what was it, 2003 to 2007 for about 140 a piece. And then again, you could just continue the timeline out for there. But Google was selling, and for each pair of shoe that you would have bought, the compounded on Google, I believe, would have came in at least $8,000 for each pair of shoes. So it's just, you know, it's interesting decisions. And again, it's, you know, it's okay to enjoy certain I don't even want to say like luxuries, but just to be a consumer. You know, if people have certain consumer brands that they like, or, you know, like if one likes to go to the more pricey coffee spot as opposed to the less expensive coffee spot, you know, we got one chance at this life that I know of. And if you want to treat yourself a little bit,
odds
like,
in our favor.
yeah, and let's do that. And, you know, feel free to treat yourself, enjoy it. But, you know, it's a tough one, because I believe the gentleman might have said that something about a vacation that he went on with the Palantir. You know, I feel you on that, but I just want to say also that Palantir will come, Palantir will go. The stock price will go up, the stock price will go down.
You can't stick your whole life just watching the screen and charts going up and down. You still need to enjoy. Like, we're doing this for a reason. Anyone that tells you they're holding until they are not alive anymore, I believe, unless they are doing it just for their children and that's all they're doing it for, 100% fair enough. But if you're getting people saying they're holding forever, it's like, why are you doing it then? Like, is it just a game, or what is it? So I wouldn't be disheartened with something like that. Palantir, look, as Dylan said it, Palantir, it comes and goes. There's another opportunity to jump into Palantir. Robin Hood comes and goes. Another opportunity to jump into Robin Hood. Rocket Lab comes and goes. Archer Aviation comes and goes.
Yeah.
But there'll always be a new stock. So,
but that memory that you made on that vacation, you know, that's
as long as you didn't
something.
do nothing wild, my guy.
There you go. Yeah, don't do nothing that we would do. But no, but really, I hope you had a great vacation with that, and yeah, you know, keep those, that's a memory, and that will be lifetime. So enjoy that, and that's okay to take that vacation. So don't feel bad about that, for sure.
Namisha, big shout out. I'm loving it. Loads of guys are coming in here tonight. Isn't that wild?
Nice. Appreciate
We're starting up this project, guys. We're going to start going live a lot more again. Look, I'm not going to pin you down on it, Dylan. I know you.
I appreciate you.
Have a family and that you have to look after. So look, we're not expecting Dylan to be here the whole time, but Dylan's always welcome on. He is a hustle brother.
I will always be honest that Archer is my second baby. As I do have to hold my one as my one. But no, it's always great to jump on with Liam and with the chat and to I love the engagement, and again, in a time of turmoil or confusion, to be able to have an outlet like this, just to speak about it, because maybe you're the only person in your home that's in the market or watching the market, or kind of dealing with the thoughts in your head, and
nothing worse than that. There genuinely is nothing worse than having it beating you down inside. That was genuinely why myself and Reese started the channel, was because it used to beat us down inside, and we couldn't get contact with each other.
Yeah, that's tough.
That was painful.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I said to the guys, when we had someone at the start. Let me bring the comment back up.
Yeah, sure.
Andrew said, "Hope I was doing well.
Oh,
few days have been wild." Was it Andrew? I thought you said something after that. Thanks for hopping on again. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, do you know what? You're helping me as much as I'm helping you guys. But you guys are my friends, so genuinely.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
I learn from you, you learn from me. We're all happy. Yeah. Guys, do smash that like button while you're in here. It does get us out to more people. Also, if you want to see that wheel spin up there, smash that subscribe button. All subscribing does is put me on your home screen. That's all it does, yeah? I had that whole spiel yesterday, the reason I say subscribe. And it's because I told you, when I do a video, I transcribe it. Yeah, on AI, I transcribe. I'm going to be open and honest here. I'm not going to say I sit there and write out a description. I transcribe exactly what I've said on AI. Then I use AI to create a description, and then I personalize the description for the hustle brothers. But if you're subscribed, I just show up on your home screen anyway. So it actually puts less effort on me to actually create this description that, to be fair, is AI generated. And I can get back to actually doing what I love doing, is creating videos. And I think that's what you're here for, is watching our content, not to do, not to listen or to read description. Vaz sent me. Do you know what? Did you hear my video the last day about Vaz? I said I respect everything Vaz does. I've always respected Vaz. I've never had a falling out with Vaz. And I want Vaz to join the Hustle Brothers. I said that. I said I want Vaz to join the Hustle Brothers because we are here. What Vaz is doing is genuinely, not many people are doing it, yeah? And I have big respect to anyone that is sharing their knowledge. Anyone that can put their face on camera and share their knowledge.
Yeah.
I'm happy for it. If Vaz created his, he doesn't even have to be part of the Hustle Brothers. If Vaz created his own channel, and what is he on the eVTOL Hub? If he was eVTOL Hub, I would happily go on do a podcast with Vaz. I just have my reasons why I wouldn't go on the channel he's on at the moment.
I was thinking for you guys, Liam, being that you guys are, I guess you would say, later on the clock, I guess the way I would look at it right now, like it would be more later in the night for you.
Yeah.
You're kind of technically up earlier, me being on East Coast US time. So it's very interesting where even like if I'm to pop on X or something like that, and kind of to see the slew of information that is really kind of already rolling in from those that have had 3, 4, 5 hours awake and already started the deep diving, comparatively where, their deep dive being 7 a.m. might be 2 a.m. on my side. So I might be closing my deep dive for the day when, you guys are just getting up and, you guys are starting the day fresh. So it's very interesting. And again, not to that, also being able to kind of get the perspective of both kind of just the feelings of what's going on 2 different types of soil, and even to narrow it down to the eVTOLs and the aviation. I think it's really cool. And if anybody wants to put in the chat, like a general country or city that they're from, I think it's really cool to see, again, the kind of worldwide, the global interest that kind of comes around these eVTOLs. And we might be a tight-knit group right now, but we're early in the information. We don't have to always only just be the early investors. We're early. We're informed early, and we're going to be informative to those that may need to know about these, or the day when you got that thing flying in the sky and somebody's like, well, what's that up there? And then it's like, oh, by the way, that is the eVTOL, the S4, the Midnight, and the Vela. So yeah, I think it's really cool to get this in now. And yeah, if you like and subscribe, I just think it's a great reminder, as it just kind of shows red, and not blowing any smoke. I love watching Liam's videos. Honestly, if I'm doing work outside, I'll pop the AirPod in and I'll listen to him for both the knowledge and the entertainment in them. So as always, Liam, thank you for doing it, man.
I wear my heart on my sleeve. I
know
do
that.
come out with some outrageous stuff sometimes, but no,
That's
guys,
good.
thank you so much for listening. Yeah, I don't know where I was going with that. You guys were saying, oh yeah, James 007 had a really nice one there. So, which is your favorite to least favorite company? Archer, Joby, Vertical Aerospace. That's easy for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just going to go in the order that I invest them in. Archer, then Joby. And I'm not in Vertical Aerospace looking for an entry point. Said that for a while now. I'm looking for an entry point, but I'm quite worried about where it is at the moment. I do believe once we go past that $4 range, it could get a little bit hairy. So I love what they're doing. Yes, we will speak to Vertical Aerospace.
Mm-hmm.
But at the moment, I have to be honest. I'm not going to lie and say Vertical Aerospace my favorite, but if I'm not invested in it. So it is Archer, Joby, Vertical Aerospace. Dylan, surprise, surprise. I reckon you're going to go with Vertical Aerospace, Joby, then Archer.
Most likely vertical first. Yeah, got it. No, I'm sticking the same order. Got to stick same order there. But again, it does come through a few different things, and I want to keep some of the, again, whether it's the question around the product that I like the most, company potential that I like the most, or the most the best market cap to invest dollars into a specific company at the time. So but yeah, for me, for a lot of different reasons, I put Archer number one for me, and I'm very excited for the 2026 catalysts and seeing that VTOL, the piloted VTOL.
Can you guys get Adam on call? Message HQ. Look, I don't want to go around begging people for things. We will talk to Adam.
One day.
And we will talk to Joe Ben.
Yep.
So don't worry. Thank you. The same order for me. Archer, Joby, then Vertical Aerospace.
Mm-hmm.
Genuinely, I've said it so many times this week. Some people are probably sick of me, but the way I look at it is two different business models. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think I've rinsed this enough now, but Joby Aviation is Apple. Archer Aviation is Android. Joby Aviation, completely vertically integrated, and they are going to operate and do everything themselves. Archer Aviation, just like Android, they manufacture the product and then leverage their partners to operate for them. Archer Aviation don't have to worry about actually operating the aircraft and getting revenue through the aircraft. When Archer Aviation go and manufacture and then sell the aircraft, what, 2.5 million to produce, 5 million selling price. So that's 2.5 million straight in Archer's hands. Joby Aviation produced the aircraft, 1.8 million. Or 1.3 million.
You got it.
Before people jump on me. 1.3 million. They then put that into service. Or Oliver did say they are going selling. I am very dubious about that, because if you're going selling,
Yeah.
Why would you put only 10 into production? So I genuinely think them first 48, they're either going to go selling straight away until they get all their infrastructure ready, or they're going straight into operations and they will sell as and when. But I think they're going to go let it hang and go straight in to operate in 48 aircraft. Look, for the first year, you'd be making that money back. I worked it out at 1.6 million running it 16 times a day or something like that, fully loaded.
Right.
The following year, that goes straight into profit for that S4 aircraft alone. And then they're producing, what can we expect the following year? What did I say yesterday? 96 or so if they doubled.
That would be a double. Yeah, that would be a double. And you know, even looking just to see, you know, towards, I want to say maybe midsummer, really starting to see, you know, I don't even want to use the word ramp yet of manufacturing, but just what to the general number scale of manufacturing. You know, are we still looking at 2 a month from either Joby or Archer out of the manufacturing facilities? So, you know, come the times of October, November, December, you know, do we have kind of that functional assembly line, maybe that golden line that Archer spoke about, and as well as Joby continuing to work out of the Ohio facility as well? You know, are we starting to see maybe a glimpse into those being projected numbers that can be reached in 27? So basically just saying, let's start building 1, building 2. Let's see if we can get 2 off a line in a month. And, you know, let's see if that goal can get hit prior to 2026 running out. And then that way we can see if that 2027 4 aircraft a month guidance would be more in line, and could actually see that happen as well.
Bag said, I didn't think to give interviews to people that ask good questions. Where'd you hear that, my guy?
We didn't say we ask good questions. We just do our best.
Randy says, how do you think the hybrid aircraft is going to... How do you think the... So what do we think about the hybrid aircraft? Do you think they actually began building it? Andrew drafted a few and flew their unmanned jet, I think 500 days or something crazy like that. Surprised we haven't seen any renderings of the craft yet. The renderings will come out in due course. If you were building something for, is it now called the Department of War? I'm gonna still call it the Department of Defense.
I don't even want to make the mistake, but yeah, I think we have officially flipped over to from Department of Defense to Department of War.
Yeah, so if you're building a craft for the Department of War, if you haven't been awarded the contract yet, I think they are going to be very secretive to what the craft looks like and what it will entail until we get closer to the time. You don't want everyone, such as the retail investor, knowing everything about it. Tony, big shout out. I seen you put another video out, my guy, so big shout out. Guys, if you want to see the S4 or the Midnight actually fly in a simulator, Tony has a great channel there, so do go and check him out. Cheers and best. Good seeing Dylan today. Do you know what? Dylan's a fan favorite.
And you're so kind, but honestly, these sim video, it was so cool. And just again to get a gauge of maybe feeling or experiencing with the takeoff, with the land, and then the ease of control. I think it's I know we're early stages, so I'm not gonna connect dots and tinfoil anything, but it is cool to see it integrated in, but also to have the pilot academies that these companies are running as well. So yeah, big shout out to Tony, and like we were saying, you know, maybe one day we can get them sponsored into to the Archer Academy or something like that, or you know, the Joby Academy, and you know, maybe get those wings like he's been practicing for. So yeah, but thanks for doing the sims and sharing that, because I enjoyed watching both those aircraft that you were flying.
I'm saying Joby and Archer don't give interviews to people that ask good questions. It was a compliment to you guys. You would ask good questions. Thank you so much for that, Bag.
Thanks, Bag. Love you, Bag.
Ray says, I surely need to become tech educated to learn how to tap in on my device to video connect onto your podcast, as if I got to be guided by the hand. You know what? You're doing great as you're going. Do you know what? What we might do for well, we do it for eVTOL Weekly. It really depends on what gets dropped. We might
Sure,
open up
sure.
AX spaces on eVTOL Weekly for maybe half an hour or so, and you guys can come in and have your say. Look, completely free. What the Hustle Brothers do is completely free.
That's
It
right.
we just
We're here
want
to chat,
we're here to chat. We're here
grow
to
the
make friends.
community. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And you never kind of know. It's really like just tip of the icebergs that these ideas and anybody can come in and I don't think anything around these companies is be speculative. Dig in, kind of put your wildest thought out there and see if somebody rebutes it. And that's like I say, the bag. A year ago or so, Bag would talk that we couldn't lift the 800 pounds and such, which for him is still to be proven out. Do I think it can be done? Yes, but again, it's good to have, for me, the contrarian view to keep us grounded, to see what has been done in the industry and look for those true catalysts that, again, no pun intended, are going to allow this industry to take off. So yeah, no matter which side you're on, I think it's good to throw the thoughts in and kind of to have them shaken out. So yeah, come join, come join.
Stacy says, I have to go watch Podgy Pony and buy stuff for the horse in 15 minutes. Sorry, friends. Good to see you. Big shout out.
Yeah, enjoy.
It's an addiction, high, expensive one at that. Do you know what? As we said, we all have to. You have
Yeah.
to do something in life that keeps your mind off the markets, because you will go absolutely insane if you're sat here just listening, talking about the markets all day, every day. I've said it before. I'm a farmer now. Yes, I'm a bit of a weirdo. It does stick in my head constantly. Do you know what I actually had to do today? And this is no word for lie.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I was gonna go live at Close and Bell, and I was like, no, do you know what? I was too fired up from the markets. And I was like, do you know when you're actually not right? I genuinely had
Mm-hmm.
to sit down and listen to music.
See,
And I
there
was
you
like,
go.
just chill out, forget about it. It is what it is. Do you see a slow or rapid adoption curve for eVTOLs in the USA market? What could be the tipping point for accelerated growth? I genuinely. That's a very good question. That is actually a very good question. I don't think it'll be. I think everyone will want to fly on one when they see one. However, I think it will be slow adoption at the start. I genuinely do. But they're not ramping up in a massive way in such. Like, if we put 48 aircraft out there, you don't need rapid adoption. You just need rapid adoption of them 48.
Mm-hmm.
So it depends what you class rapid adoption. Yes, I do think the 48 aircraft will be absolutely wedged for the first while. Will it taper off? I don't know. I don't think Archer Aviation will if they start rolling out in Los Angeles. Where are Joby planning on hitting first?
From my understanding, I would say New York, US wise, New York, I would say would kind of be home base to go first
I
right
don't think they'll
now.
taper off in New York. People
I
have the
know
money there.
that's and it's new technology. And really also it's seeming like it's a turnover in the helicopter business. So again, whether it's 5 years from now, 10 years from now, your local tourisms, your medevacs, again, even if you look at your 500th biggest city or 1000th largest city, as the CEOs of these companies have said, where and like you say, Liam, it's a little bit different, like kind of meshing in between like your Waymo rollout and whether you want to call that like slow or rapid. So the thing is, like with Waymos, you're gonna be able to get the vehicles kind of and pair them up a bit with that adoption and with regulatory regulatory approvals as well. So I think again, it will, like you say, it kind of has to fall in line a bit with how many aircraft there are. So that whole supply and demand aspect of it. But again, if we stretch these out, again, thinking that these are global businesses and not just US businesses, and looking towards the ramp of the numbers of 650 being produced a year and Joby having also a mass scale produced on their side, I think that's again when we're seeing a lot of turnover in the kind of old school helicopters. And that may be, again, it might even be one of those sort of rapid adoptions that you're kind of seeing overnight. And overnight may not be technically overnight, but if you go back a year and a half ago, how many Waymos were you seeing on the road, and all that kind of stuff. So again, as the product can be produced, I think we will see that turnover and start to see that a more rapid adoption, as that will be your mode of transportation if you are taking those short point-to-point flights.
Guys, I see the new ones sitting in there now that I haven't subscribed. It is free. Make that wheel spin up the very top, please, my guys. Tony says, yes, when people fully understand how simple and safe compared to traditional aviation, they will go crazy. It's Star Trek, and with 4 and other AI, oh my, bye. I'm just very interested to see how the pricing point changes as these actually go out to market. Are we going to see fluctuation to what we have got in the early investor presentations, especially as we first start rolling out? Are they going to put out bigger margins, or are they going to put out smaller margins just so you get public acceptance? We said about Uber yesterday. Uber CEO saying how it's a multi-billion-dollar project or potential, the whole robo-taxi side. And then if you actually link it with what Cathy Wood has been saying about it being a 20 cent per mile, then it's like these robo-taxis are going to be very cheap. And I know it's going to increase the amount of congestion and therefore will benefit the eVTOL industry. But then it does make me think, like, I was genuinely thinking of this, and I was like, say if it was $70 to travel on one of these, you ain't going to be traveling on one of these to work. Because who has $70? Unless you're a big businessman, you ain't going to be spending $70 a day to be traveling on these to work. But that's where I think it's a different use case. Dylan's just gone for a moment, guys. He will be back, though. Fred believes it's Florida Joby would be rolling out. You could actually be correct there. You probably are correct, not going to lie. I should know that off the top of my head. Guys, do jump into the comments and let us know. Do you think it'll be slow or rapid adoption curve for eVTOLs when they first start off? I think we all agree. I don't think we'd be here if we didn't believe that eVTOLs will take off. The adoption is an interesting one. I think initially, genuinely, people will want to fly on one of these they never have before. It's after 6 months to a year, do we see it slowly taper off until people get fully confident in the safety, etc. If I could choose to travel in a helicopter in eVTOL, I'd choose traveling in eVTOL every time. I think people will feel the same, especially for safe reason. James, you've hit the nail on the head there. Myself and my missus were at Formula 1, and there was helicopter trips, I'm not afraid of flying. But my God, I would not step foot inside a helicopter, my guy. Nah, I just wouldn't. A lot of you guys might say you would. Yeah, but I just wouldn't. And I would not be paying for one of these to be taking me around anywhere. An eVTOL, on the other hand, I wouldn't. I think it is the fact that it can fly like a plane. And I think the redundancy... Look, if we take the redundancy system out of it, if we take the fact that the propellers can keep up with each other. So if one fails, you'll still be safe. You still have a lot more safety with a plane being able to glide down. So no, I would be. Being a farmer is an honourable profession, honest hard work. I tip my hat to you in appreciative respect. May you reap well. Thank you so much, my guy. That's actually very nice to hear. Do you know what? We genuinely, on the farming side, yeah, like, look, anyone that works, hats off to you. I don't care what you do. I don't care if you make 6 figures. I don't care if you make 5 figures. I don't care what you make. Fair play to you. But yeah, when it comes to the likes of the YouTube and that, look, I've said it before. I just like having a chat with you guys. This is free, and it's going to remain that way. I've seen a few creators lately trying to push the likes of Patreon, etc. Mate, I cannot be bothered with that kind of stuff. Isn't it just as easy me come online and tell you what I've done and then just put it up on X, what I've done? Like, there's no point. Why put... For me, putting a paywall on something would be it would go against the very reason I started this channel. Like, information should be free to everyone, and if I want people on retail investing keep it like a hive mind, by putting a paywall on it, I'm more or less only trying to talk to people that have expendable income. Yeah. And that's not... I don't care if you have 1 share in eVTOLs. I don't care if you have 1 million shares in eVTOL. I don't care if you have no shares in eVTOL. Everyone's opinion should matter. Whether you're a bull or a bear, it genuinely should matter. Because you'll help us all sharpen our thesis. I don't expect any of you to agree with any of my thesis when it comes to eVTOL. I genuinely think they're very, very strong. But that's only because very few of you actually bite back on my thesis. And that could be my problem, where I could be firing down the whole wrong alley completely. It's confirmation bias, really, isn't it? I live 1 mile from Boca Raton Airport. I hope to be one of the first. Oh,
I love that,
Fred.
I love that. I love that.
If you do, you have to take pictures.
No, Boca is beautiful, man.
Take pictures, send them to us, and we'll get them up for you, my guy.
It'll be interesting too if Archer does any expos or displays down in Miami this year. I don't, I'm not trying to speculate. I don't know what's on the calendar for like the F1 race coming down to Miami. But again, being integrated with Dragon, I always get the Magic City put in there. I always crosses Dragon Global, as well as Ross, related Ross in Miami. And that kind of build out they're doing there. And like he's saying, into the connected areas, into Boca Raton as well. It'll be very interesting to see if they start to definitely do the displays and expos. And looking at Verticon coming up in March. So big shout out to eVTOL Buzz on X. So we were talking and confirmed, and it was just kind of interesting again, as last year it was in Texas. This year it will be in Georgia. So again, being 2 of the cities where, again, if they're not the whole market movers within the eIPP, some of the two cities that aren't, we don't think as much about the connected air taxi network maps, like we've seen from Miami to Boca to Miami International, Fort Lauderdale Airport, as well as we've seen the mock-ups for the routes out in California from both the companies as well, and New York as well. So it'll be interesting to see for this coming year what expos will have to actually go and kind of check these aircraft out on the floor. And then as we move through the year, kind of areas that we'll be able to see them. I mean, think about the California International Air Show come the end of this year. It's kind of one of those things we look back a year ago and it's like, what was able to be done with these aircraft, and looking forward to, oh man, 8-9 months from now, what these aircraft will continue to be able to show, improve out. Very exciting. But yeah, Fred, I hope you get one of those first flights, and you're definitely living in a nice, shiny area, and you still love to go to Miami, so it makes me smile to hear somebody down in that area. So very, very nice.
Dave says New York with Blade, I think. Look, whether it's New York, whether it's Miami, I do think there will be nice adoption initially. Will it teeter off? I don't know. With 48 aircraft, I don't actually think so. If they're rolling out thousands, maybe you might see a little bit of a dip. But you know what? I think that can be part of why we won't see mass scale out too, because we do need to get the public adoption up to speed as well. They need to see these flying. They need to know these are safe. Do you see NetJets, the subsidy of Berkshire Hathaway, getting involved in the VTOL space? So NetJets, they are like one of the largest private jets.
Man, I have had my eye on NetJets in the sense of them becoming any strategic partnership that one of these companies takes with NetJets, or any lean in from NetJets. But yeah,
could you see that more with? No, I'm going to send the Horizon aircraft ones crazy. But could you see, as Horizon aircraft start growing, someone like Horizon aircraft coming into it there?
For the regional, actually, you're making a lot of sense. You know, you kind of shook my head right into actually the logic behind that.
Like Brandon said, he wants to bring aviation back to like the 1970s, where they just go in and straight onto the plane, the region, and where you go.
Yeah, and you know, I don't know what it is. I think again, as times kind of change, you know, it's not like it was, it's not like you were unable to get a private jet when I was 19, 20, or 21 or something like that. But it just seems, I don't know, man. It just seems like it's so much more in fashion these days. And it just seems like it's like you have these companies like NetJets where it's like literally like, oh, I want a private jet to go here to there and booked, done. So, and then you have, I mean, you have other services and stuff that you can link with too, if NetJets isn't, you know, the one that can take you on as a customer. But no, NetJets is absolutely one that I am very curious to see their adoption, and maybe a partnership that would come into the eVTOLs, or with any, with the eVTOL companies as well. So do I see it? I see a potential of it. Absolutely a potential of it.
Mate, what is your name? Is it Cedar or Cheddar? You've put some banging comments in today. Your questions are wild. I actually love them. Keep them coming. I like
Cedar tree. I like it.
Yeah, nah, keep your questions coming in, because, mate, you're actually getting me thinking now. I like that. Stacey says, I lied. I watched Pudgy Pony on my phone and you on my computer. Win-win. Big shout out, Stacey.
That's so sweet.
Absolutely love it.
Thank you.
007 himself, says Stacey, with a thumbs up.
Nice.
Guys, I'm really loving the support from you guys.
Yeah.
Give Vaz my hello. And yes, I want to work with Vaz. I really want to work with Vaz. Think it could be interesting. Me and Vaz can actually meet up in person more often than you think. I am 1 hour flight away from Vaz, and the flights are about a tenner normally. And
that's not bad.
There's a lot more to come, because I will be entering the UK space an awful lot more.
I like that. I like that. I like that.
Fred says, thanks. I think eVTOLs will become the newly adoptive mobility choice. At first, mainly for the more privileged New York City, LA, Las Vegas. That's the thing. I thought of this myself when I see the pricing points. I'm like, at the start, are we just going to see the rich get into it? I know the whole thought is make it available to the masses, but I don't think they have any choice but to deliver to the rich. And what I enjoy about, like, Archer Aviation don't really have a say in it. Like, their operators are going to be whoever they are, and their pricing point can be whatever they are. And at the end of the day,
Yeah.
If people are willing to pay it, I don't care if Archer or Joby is cheaper to actually get on. If the people are willing to pay it, make them pay it. That's what I believe. As an investor, morally, yes, you want the masses to be able to fly in these. But as an investor, I want as much people that will pay as much as they can on these aircraft. And this is where Joby Aviation, if they hit a really beautiful pricing point, could actually make a lot more money than people are actually projecting. So we don't know how this is going to go, yeah? They could go to New York, and next thing you have, okay, you have 48 aircraft, yeah? Say all 48 go into New York, yeah?
Yeah.
Dylan, you work in the financial industry. What is 48 by 4?
12.
48 by 4.
Oh, multiply. Oh, I divided
Yeah.
it. 96 times 2 is gonna be 180, 192. Off the top of my head,
192.
192.
We need 192 rich people to fly on these to make that successful for
Interesting.
the first year.
Interesting. Yeah.
In
No,
New
I like
York.
that.
Yeah. What's the population in New York? Guys,
A lot more than 48. Yeah.
This industry is gonna, I'm telling you guys, don't worry about it. Now, yes, we then have to multiply it by like 16 flights a day, etc. But
this is just a random thought, Liam, and it's just, I don't know, it's just top of my head. But to get public adoption, let's say I was to take the first 5 trips on the Midnight. Would that give public adoption if Dylan from X was flying on the Midnight versus we're having a rollout at let's just say maybe some VIP services for the Super Bowl next year in LA, and you're seeing people that are having a net worth of a lot more money than me putting their lives in the air with the trust of these aircraft. And maybe it's just one of those pop culture trickle down effects where for some reason when you see that VIP in that mode of transport, and then that mode of transport becomes available to us as the general public. Again, it has been proven out. You've probably gotten some decent publicity behind the VIPs that we're riding. And again, that can kind of maybe match into certain price points, either from sale of aircraft or operational cost of aircraft that's going to be needed for the beginning point. And then to be able to get, the mileage down, basically like cost per mile down to where you can run your kind of Uber Black prices, and it's going to be through the rideshare app. But again, don't not just kind of in the generals of like, don't stray too far away. And I know we look at the company's guidance on like VTOL and stuff, and can harp on that and can say, this company hasn't VTOL'd, or manufacturing from another company, or the allocation of money that they've spent to be able to ramp the manufacturing has been. And any knock you want to take it at either any of the top companies in here. But yeah, it's I see it as something where this it almost is just going to be this snowball effect where again we take the thing that I was thinking, and I stumbled over it, was again keep in mind that even the CEOs are projecting this to be a 10 to 15-year plan. Like this just won't be the overnight, and like you say, it's aircraft that we have to supply. And again, it's the MOUs and the books we have on order. Let's say it's 48 aircraft. That doesn't mean that 48 are going to be able to stick just in the US. So those may have to be dispersed to UAE, and GCAA clients. And then as well, a lot of these companies tapping into the Asian market as well. And then having to deliver on those deals as well. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see kind of where the aircraft start to go, especially if, to me, it'll be interesting where if you do have any lineup with FAA and GCAA adoption in the certification, where then when you get, let's say, the 2040 aircraft, so once we've gotten through TC, so basically you don't have to retain those aircraft for the FAA registration. Again, who will be those that will be first in line to be the purchasers or receivers of those aircraft?
Bag was in a hot air balloon. It was quiet and still scary. Do you know what? You're braver man than me. I don't think
Mm-hmm.
I'd go up in a higher bloom. Okay,
Nah,
I
I
really
couldn't.
don't.
Nah, I don't know if I could do it. Nah, good for you, Bag. I hope it was a good experience, though.
Namisha says,
Yeah.
I've flown in a tourist heli in Hawaii. Agree about the noise and scary rotating blades. I, again, you're braver than me because there is not a fear I'd be going anywhere near a helicopter. Dave has flown the helicopter noisy and ducked my head out of the way, paranoid of the blades. I don't actually think it's the blades, yeah. It's the fact of the multiple failure points that it only takes one, and that is us. That is good night, hustle, brother.
No, it's it's interesting, and to keep in just in keeping that line, it's the safety, the redundancy in the motors, and I think to again learn, it's like from the surface, I haven't been a traditional heli rider as yeah, it's kind of like fight or flight in that whether and I'm more flight or fight than flight, I guess, in the sense of where basically my point is the tourism I would love to do those, but I don't like the traditional helicopter, but I could see myself actually doing those with an eVTOL. There's just something about the look, the design, the safety, it just I don't feel nervous talking about it. Whereas if we were gearing up to do a point to point heli route, yeah, it's just not as appealing to me. So my public adoption actually came on to even just seeing the product and saying, hey, that looks like something I'd be more interested in getting on than what is commercially available at the moment.
eVTOLs would make excellent emergency service and police vehicles in exchange for helicopters now used. 007 says, I think Horizon Aircraft would be a great, the Cavra X7 would be a great vehicle for that. I don't know about the Midnight or the S4. Emergency service and police vehicles. Yes, around cities, maybe, but at the same time, where are you going to land them? Like, in a city, what, are you going to land them on a building? Or there's not that many open spots, is there? And then if not, you have to close the road for them to land. And then by the time you close the road, your emergency service has already got out to where you're going.
Well, what you also have me thinking of, Liam, too, is maybe scale of city and maybe how they'll be kind of, I don't want to just say introduced or adopted over and over, but really the use case behind the city. So, if you have your more crowded cities like the New Yorks, the Miamis, and such, maybe that goes in with your point to point air taxi more routes. And maybe again in the medevac or any other use cases when we take those out to a less densely populated city. But still, all of these cities are using medevac emergency vehicles in a helicopter form, which most likely are going to have a helicopter pad in which they can land on. So getting those turnkey operations. So again, you can have the cities, in the middle Americas, and even abroad in on your side of the pond there, Liam, where again it maybe wouldn't be as crowded as like the Londons and such like that, but would be beneficial for those who don't have that ability to like get that get to that major hospital as quickly as possible. So again, this maybe being that cheaper, faster option for that city to maybe procure, 3 of these eVTOL aircraft for those type of use cases as well. So might be an interesting split to kind of see what cities can adopt the medevac on the early side, and then the cities that can adopt the more commercial air taxi route on that side too. So yeah, no, that's an interesting thought. I like that.
Oh, another cracking question.
Okay, what we got here?
So, corporate America has the largest business aviation fleet in the world, with estimates of over 15,000 private jets. Do you see a significant switch in corporate world from jets to eVTOL? No, I'm going to enter
Mm,
with that and say no,
mhm.
because private jets have a certain use case, yeah? I could see it going from electric CTOL, because that would be a straight change. eVTOL, so vertical takeoff and land, there's a lot of performance that has to give in the fact that they're going for that vertical takeoff and landing. Vertical takeoff and landing is going to zap your battery if you're going for a long range flight. So you would be better with the CTOL variant there. Now, could I see a mass change in that? Well, with the likes of Horizon Aircraft or even some of the hybrids that are coming out, I could see a change from some of these jets. But again, look, the performance of these jets are still an awful lot quicker than what we're expecting, say, the Midnight or the S4 to travel at. I don't know. I think sometimes we can get bogged down and think that the S4 or the Midnight is the solution to absolutely everything aerospace, and I don't believe that. So there's still a need for your conventional jets. Now, some people will completely disagree with me though, but until battery technology increases, and I think Bag will love me saying this, but until battery technology increases, these long distance flights will be stuck with either hybrids or CTOL variants. I hope that's answered your question, my guy. Dylan, do you want to add anything to that?
No, I think you're spot on. I do think, like you said, the private jets do have a specific use case, and again, it's going to be definitely the battery technology. Will it be the inducted fans to giving us more regional mobility in the aircraft? So, do I see a significant switch? I mean, again, a lot of these companies are looking to go, like net zero on emissions and such like that. So there is this aviation turnover. Sorry for the background noise, guys, but there is aviation turnover that does seem to be coming in. I think if we let this, again, be adopted through the eVTOL, which is again this kind of replacing the helicopter, and giving it the runway to have the R&D to go into the larger regional scale jets, I don't think it's out of the question. That's something that, I honestly, I really enjoyed about Hover's design is I could picture myself on what is now Boeing 737. I look out the window, wings are right there. It would be a lot less odd for me to see a regional mode of transport where I have the inducted fans, where those are just getting shut off the wing. And then I'm kind of traveling, in essence, almost visually, almost as I used to travel, on the jet engine 737. So yeah, do I see it? There, yeah. But again, I think the timeline, we start with the product we have now, and we keep R&D in, and again, it will be very interesting to see. And again, it might be 3-5 years time to see if that Lillian patent portfolio does show to bring any of that regional travel towards Archer's book as well.
Stacy says, "Hey little buddy, love it. Hey to your kiddo, by the way. Dylan's little man is the future of the Hustle Brothers. He will take over." Ray says, "What has primarily won my supportive interest in Horizon Aircraft's eVTOL aircraft is that it makes great sense that the V-lift fan blades will become protected from icing. Ice bullets shooting out of the blades." I don't know, we're getting too bogged down on this whole icing thing. I really don't know, we're getting too bogged down on it. It's great for where they are, but I don't know. Helicopters, the majority of helicopters are not FIKI certified, but the helicopter industry is still booming. So I wouldn't get too bogged down in FIKI certification. What is the average duration of an emergency flight, and what is the average payload? Like, if I knew that off the top of my head, I promise you I'd give it to you, but I genuinely don't know. I would be going straight to the internet for that. I thought those sounds were from her parrot. Guys, look, if you want to keep these streams going, it's a new project we're doing. You know me and my projects. I love them. I forgot to say, actually, today's day 34 of our eVTOL challenge, talking Archer Joby Rising Aircraft, electric vertical airspace. Every single day, do smash that subscribe button. But yeah, if you want to keep these streams going, I said how I'm going to run these streams. It's going to be more when you guys need me. I don't think I will go for 7 days a week, potentially 5. I don't think I'll go for 7 because that is absolutely insane on top of the videos. But who knows, if we run the Hustle Brothers right, potentially we could have some of the guys run the streams for us too. Might not just be me running them or Dylan running them. So if you do want it to keep going, do smash that subscribe button, because I will tell you something. We get a lot more subscribers from 8-minute videos. And when I'm running the stream for 2 hours, I don't really get people watching to the extent. But on the other hand, I prefer doing streams. I enjoy them more because there's more interaction and we can actually talk to our friends. Doing videos is a lonely journey. Doing videos is a very lonely journey. It's just you staring down the barrel of a camera and then spending hours editing. 8-minute videos takes about 2 hours between recording, editing, and that's taken away from like the research you have to do before it. I said Dylan, but my whole tactic is I always do the research before I go on the farm. Then when I'm on the farm, I let the brain work for me, and then I do the recording. But Eddie says, "Thanks, guys. Have to run." Big shout out, Eddie. As always.
Thanks for hanging, Eddie. Yeah, man. Enjoy the night.
Dylan, is there anything else that you?
You know, I'll say in a day where, you know, if you put the market aside, it was a good day. If I tapped into my portfolio, I was seeing a lot of red, but you know, it's been a great conversation tonight. I think there's been some poignant questions asked. You know, I think we've done our best to answer everything we can with the knowledge that we know tonight. But
I'm sorry.
what I like is
Sedar's one of my favorite guys.
Hit 'em,
some of the questions.
go for it. You know, yeah, and it's, you know, and just continue to drive the curiosity. You know, we're gonna weather the storms together. Again, we're not gonna be the tell you the buy, sell, and hold type of people. We're just gonna share the information that we learn every day on these companies and relay it to you in the most honest way we can. And that's what we are. So I agree. I love the live streams. Liam rocks all the videos. So I mean, he's doing amazing on that. So yeah, I think it's a great combination to have both. And yeah, it's I love the really the chat kind of heating up and the chat members like getting to know each other and that community growing. So leave you on the most high note I can, that I hope everybody has the best night in front of them. And no matter in the market tomorrow, just enjoy the day to the best you can. And the Hustle Brothers will be back. You know that?
What I'm starting to love, I can start seeing the two communities amalgamating into one. It felt like Vaz's community and our community, there was a bit of hostility there. Vaz, look, we are looking to collaborate with Vaz. I can't wait to speak to Vaz about eVTOLs because I think his knowledge is well appreciated, and I think he would be a great addition to a podcast. That podcast doesn't have to be on the Hustle Brothers. It really doesn't have to be. It can be on eVTOL Hub. So, look, it is what it is. You guys have a closer reach out to Vaz than I do. So do jump in. What's this? What do you think about Beta flying over 100,000 miles of real-world flying? Deploying aircraft into the hands of customers in Norway and New Zealand. They're certifying and selling their electric motor. So I touched on Beta at the start there. I'm not jumping into them yet. I genuinely am, because I think there's better opportunities going around. We spoke a little bit about that Norway flight and how it was proving out their flight data, and it was more for Norway to show that this next generation technology can actually be adapted into everyday life. Is it something I want to dive into? I am mad bullish on cargo. But again, look, the market cap's like, what is it, $1 billion less than Archer Aviation. I'd see a lot more room with Archer Aviation
And
at the moment.
It's
So
looking like the IPO lockup date ends May 4th. So that'll be interesting because I know we've been kind of keeping that eye on that too. Sorry to cut you off, but yeah, I was checking for that date
no,
on
you're
that.
fine. Namisha says honesty.
That's what we do.
007, thank you for your live stream. It was excellent. I'll be back to watch more from now on. James, you're welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome, my guy. I do love it. Stacy says much love. Do you know what?
Back to you.
I love this.
Back to
Thank
you
you so much, guys. DHC, that's a few reasons I like beta. Joby's free falling. When does this blood push stop? I don't know when any of it stops. Genuinely, my guy, if I had a crystal ball, I promise you I would tell you. I don't see it stopping tomorrow, put it that way. I stick by don't look at your portfolio for 2 weeks. I am sticking by that. I just think it's uncomfortable. I know what's going to happen. We're going to have a little green day and everyone's going to get all excited again, but
sure,
it's going to take a while. Dylan.
Yeah, and I think another thing, I think we've peppered in a few of those macro items throughout the stream. It is also a midterm election year. And, those just, again, go again, check per history, have not always been the kindest to the market. So yeah, it's a little choppy's not the word right now. It's a little bloody right now. So when will it stop? I think when the market can kind of realize the AI to quantum and just general there's a whole basket of things going on. So I think keep the eye on the ticker that you're in. Keep if this goes longer than a quarterly earnings call, keep in mind, the revenue and the cash balance sheets, interest rates that companies are gaining on the cash that they have on hand. And is the company still executing to the plan and the timeline that they're doing? So, and then I think, if we could take the time machine to the day that the bloodbath is over, I think we'd be right there. But not a lot of things we can do in this world can kind of be those time machines and save time. But not to be corny, that's kind of why they're making the eVTOLs, because they found out that a lot of people are sitting in traffic and we're wasting a lot of time. And only way to get that time back is to take it to a 3D space of travel. So I don't know when the market bloodbath stops, but hopefully for Joby, Archer, and all the other companies as well, it's still head down at work and continuing to execute.
Guys, there's 150 of you there between X and YouTube. Smash that like button. Please, I beg, we still have more likes yesterday than we had today, so do smash that like button. It really helps us out. You know what? You guys help me out enough anyway, to be fair to you guys. Coming to you every day. Just for a chat, it does make me feel a lot better. And you know what? That is such a selfish thing to say, but you guys really do help me out. So I want to say thank you for that too. Do smash that subscribe button. Let that look 150 if you can. You please make that spin. Please get that to 4430. We want to smash that 5,000 pretty soon. And I can promise you there's a lot of big things to come in the Hustle Brothers over the next while. So
yeah,
we can't say nothing, but there is a lot.
Stay tuned. Stay tuned. We got some earnings calls coming up too. And just saying, those are always fun. So if you haven't been to a Hustle Brothers earnings call yet, the hearts are on the sleeve. We open it early. We keep it open late.
And there's a lot of passion. There's a lot of passion. And you know what? I may even get Reese involved for that one because he comes with
bring him back. Bring him in. I'd love it. I'd love to see him. I'd love to see him.
James, you are one of our new guys. So what I will say to you, I have just done another deep dive on Horizon Aircraft. I only dropped it, the first, so 5 days ago. Do jump in. It's about 13 minutes long. you'll get my thoughts on Horizon Aircraft there. I may be doing a stream later with some of the Horizon Aircraft guys. If you want it streamed to the Hustle Brothers, potentially you can do that. I'll ask them. Guys, I can see the chat is firing away there. Do you know what? Bang that subscribe button on the way out. If you want me back here tomorrow, live again, jump into the comments after the stream. And you know what? Jump into the comments after the stream. Let's have a chat, guys. I'm going to respond to every single one of you. Let's have a chat. Let's have back and forward. After the stream, let's call it our news page. We can chat with each other in the comments and set us up for tomorrow, you know, because it is a bit of a sick note on everything that's happened today. Excellent. I will watch our Horizon Aircraft video. Guys, my name is Ian, one of the Hustle Brothers, here with my good friend Dylan. Thank you so much for always coming and showing up. Look, be brave through these days, but don't go doing nothing silly. Right, guys,
Stay calm.
until tomorrow. We'll see you then.